I think Altseason has started, and in this video, I'll explain why I feel this way, what positions I've taken, what I'm expecting from the market next, and what risks there are. Let's start by outlining my positions. I'm half in Bitcoin, and the last time I bought it was right here when I entered the market, which I mentioned in my Telegram channel, and you can also check out my reviews on YouTube from that time. So, I was fully invested in Bitcoin using my entire balance until I took profits on half of it. I took profits right here, at the breakout of the support level, and until yesterday, I was sitting, roughly speaking, 50% in Bitcoin and 50% in USDT. Bitcoin dropped by 52% in USDT, I invested 52% in altcoins. I ended up with 2% in USDT based on 48% in Bitcoin, but that's not the main point. And yesterday, I entered altcoins with those 52% of my balance that were in USDT. Let me explain why. If you missed my previous reviews, I initially waited for Bitcoin to go down here to the $86,000 mark before it jumped. Well, actually, I also said in Telegram that it would be good to buy Bitcoin here. I plan to buy back the Bitcoins I sold at this level. Initially, there was a sharp bounce from the support level, but I didn't give it much importance. It's a typical falling knife. Even when it bounces back sharply, it usually comes back down. In 90% of cases, examples show that with altcoins, the knife bounces up and then comes back down, sometimes breaking the previous level. I expected the same with Bitcoin, but when it approached the support level again, it got bought up and there was a bullish engulfing the next day. We need to take that into account. It's a strong sign of market strength. Well, something like that. I expected it for Bitcoin too, but when it came back to support, it was bought out, and with a bullish takeover the next day, this needs to be taken into account. It's a sign. It's strong, and it indicates that there is strength in the market. The plan B was to not be left without positions when the price all shoots up, and for example, not to wait for a drop. This is to place a 100 limit order at the breakout of the resistance level at $100,000, and I mentioned this as well. Accordingly, in heaven, the Pharisees' guidance is unclear. It's crucial to know if the price will rise to or break through this level. You need to be in the trend and in Bitcoin. Whether I buy at this or that price, it doesn't matter much. I'll profit either way. I bought more Bitcoin and I'm in the trend, so it's clear. I will be in profit here. I will be in profit here. You could say I bought a larger amount of Bitcoin and I'm in the trend, so that's clear. I saw strength in Bitcoin and altcoins, analyzed them. What did I see besides the strength in Bitcoin? I saw strength in altcoins, and once again, when I noticed it, I analyzed each coin individually against the dollar. Now, I'll show you the conclusions I came to. I've been trading on the Bybit exchange for the last 2 years. This is the top platform in terms of trading volume and liquidity, which means your orders will be executed here at the best prices with minimal slippage. Just by doing this, you'll save a few $100s a month compared to trading on any other exchange. In addition, there are low fees here, and by registering through my referral link in the description, you'll receive a gift ranging from $50 to $30,000 depending on the size of your deposit. Right now, click the link in the description, then hit that button and check out the size of the bonus you'll get for registering. On average, my subscribers receive about $100 for registering on the Bybit exchange, but if you have a large deposit and corresponding trading volume, you can get to $30,000 as a gift. The link is below. Register. It will take a few minutes. What kind of strength was there in the altcoins? Here it is. At the moment when Bitcoin was dropping, it fell by 2% in a day, while altcoins were rising, with some coins increasing by 3 to 4%. We haven't seen that in a long time. At the same time, we have a double bottom level, and we broke out of it vertically. I was expecting a correction before the alt season, and in my opinion, it shouldn't have been this deep, but we have to deal with what we have. As you can see, even after such a serious correction, altcoins haven't died, they're bouncing back. And even at the moment when Bitcoin was falling, altcoins were actually rising. This is a serious signal and we need to take it into account. Let's move on. Look at these volumes. This isn't just a chart of some altcoin, it's simply the ratio of the market capitalization of all altcoins to the market capitalization of Bitcoin. It's hard to say where and how the charts are calculated. Well, I actually think that if we open them separately, for example total, and look at the market capitalization of all cryptocurrencies, yes, the volumes of all cryptocurrencies, and then open USDT separately, you'll see how my chart is calculated. Total minus USDT. So, the volumes will be there, and the volumes are calculated, roughly speaking, using a similar formula for each ticker that I have here. And look, the volumes here are enormous. Remember what I said about how I taught you regarding the strength of the trend? If we have a trend moving downwards, and we're dealing with increasing volumes, then the trend should accelerate, meaning the decline should intensify. If the decline isn't intensifying, it indicates that a big buyer is stepping in here. If, against this backdrop, the trend also stops, then the buyer is so strong that we are likely dealing the potential bottom or maybe a quick reversal. In general, there is some strength here. Right now, we're dealing not just with increased volume, but with record volume. And here it's not just that the trend isn't intensifying, has transitioned into a sideways movement. As you can see, the moving averages are already breaking through, and it's typical that it goes from top to bottom and from bottom to top. This is typical for a sideways movement. Yes, there's a lot of volatility, but we're no longer in a downward trend. We're at least in a sideways movement. I want to draw your attention to how the last alt season started. It's also a double bottom, a vertical rise of altcoins, a pullback after the vertical rise, and where did we return to? About back to the level of that very double bottom. What's important is that the lows are still ascending. Here, we also have a vertical rise, and we've returned back to the level of the double bottom. The lows, still ascending for now. This is important and it echoes the beginning. Could say, of the last alt season. By the way, it was right here. This is a drop. Don't pay attention to it. This is the year 2020, the COVID year. The movement here isn't based on technicals. If it weren't for COVID, we probably would have just stayed around the same spot. There was some volatility and nothing more. Now let's move on. As soon as I saw this strength, I decided to go through each coin individually and look not just at the momentum of strength, whether it's there or not, and how strong it is, but to focus on the overall long-term trend chart. And many coins are at very significant levels. So for example, take a look at ADA. There's some huge double bottom with ascending lows, a breakout of the resistance level, a retest, and very importantly, almost all the coins that are drawing such patterns and have already broken out are practically at the level of the retest. The only coin where I saw something similar, and it's quite weak, it's dropped down significantly, is Litecoin. Here we have an important level, and you see after the breakout, it dropped and settled below the level. That's not good. That's not good, but the pattern itself here is much more significant than with many other coins. For this reason, I also got into Litecoin. But pay attention, ADA is a strong coin with a huge pattern and the price is settling above the resistance. This needs to be taken into account because technically, such a thing trades without any alt season, just like that. The potential here is purely based on the technicals and the huge pattern. ADA's chart shows a strong pattern on Bitpanic, not on Bitstamp or Coinbase. Modern charts suggest a crash, but it's a dead. We don't see it on Bitstamp, we don't see it on Coinbase either, but we do see it on Bitpanic. It's there on Bitpanic. And if it seems like on modern charts, on modern exchanges, it starts somewhere around here and looks like it just crashed to zero, and what's happening now is just a bounce back to a dead cat, right? A coin that's worthless, that nobody needs, and it's just bouncing back because it fell so much. You might say no, but if you look at the old exchanges and where the coins that you think are above it now, that nobody needs, you'll see how strong the upward trend is, and how it was before the last alt season. And by the way, this isn't ancient data. This is from 2020, not even 2016, but 2020. Since 2020, there's been a stable, good trend, so this isn't a forgotten coin. This is a coin that seriously grew in the last alt season and correspondingly gave a serious correction. And here we see ascending lows, here we see a bottom pattern. And something like this can form the next movement from here. And here we see ascending lows, here we see a bottom pattern. And so, this kind of thing can form the next movement from here. Basically, we see the first vertical stick here. Here it is, the first vertical stick of the rise. Correction. Here it is, the correction. Well, or here's the vertical stick, and there's some kind of correction. Moreover, there weren't even any significant corrections here. They just stayed in a range with high volatility. Maybe something similar will happen here. In general, this needs to be taken into account, and I showed this using just one coin to illustrate how strong it is. In fact, many coins have a similar setup, a similar scenario, but just look at how clearly everything is structured by levels with Litecoin. Note that the level of this pattern coincided with the level of the double top here at the highs. It's very beautiful, a very clear formation, but the only thing I said is that I don't like how Litecoin has settled below this level. Even the coin Neo, which, by the way, can probably call the only one in the market that's useless compared to what it was in the past. This is what the chart looks like for Neo Expo. Probably, yes, I can call it the only one that's useless, but even it, pay attention to how well it's holding up. Since November 2022, it formed a bottom. And how many cryptocurrencies from 2022 to 2024 have updated and dropped by 50% or even 70% here? Since that moment, we see ascending lows. It's a huge pattern too, this volatility, in the channel that ultimately leads to a breakout upwards during the alt season, and a vertical breakout at that. This has happened exactly like this before, and here it also seemed like the coin was useless to anyone. However, look at 2021, notice the 100. Oh, by the way, it's currently priced at 14, while at its lowest it was just 6. This coin has potential too. Just pay attention to how strong the market is. It might seem, I'll say it again, that only Bitcoin has taken off and altcoins are just not needed at all. We have coins like Neo, which are especially useless to anyone. They're just lying at the bottom, These are outdated coins, it's unclear who buys them, and it's unclear what they're used for. Well, nonetheless, just look at how strong the continuation setup is here. And by the way, even this conventional coin, in quotation marks, not needed by anyone, does not have such a graph. And the coins that no one really needs have a graph like this. Although I probably overstepped when I said it's the only coin that nobody needs, I can name Omisigo. This is what coins that are truly not needed by anyone look like. I can probably also call Omisigo such a coin. And I also included Omisigo in my portfolio. Why? Because Omisigo and GMT are two coins that have not bounced back at all, are at rock bottom, have dropped 90% multiple times in a row, and are simply worthless. When coins rise sharply, the market buys in large volumes, pushing them higher, but there are risks with coins like Omisigo and GMT that aren't needed. From experience, I've seen such coins skyrocket over tenfold. Omisigo and GMT may not be needed, but they'll rise with the market. But based on my past experience, I've seen how such things can skyrocket, even more than tenfold, and that's why I also picked up these coins. You might want to pay attention to them. Well, probably MSGO and GMT are the only ones that are truly not needed by anyone. There's nothing to latch onto. They will fly along with the market as well. Let's move on in order. I'll also open the old chart for Ethereum Classic, so you can see its full potential. Look, after the altcoin season of 2017-2018, there was a drop, and we traded in a range with some volatility. As you can see, there were upward trends present. We stood here for a while, then we stood a bit higher. In the altcoin season of 2021, it pulled back, down in exactly the same way. And look, we're also standing in a range. And look, this is what we call, roughly speaking, a squeeze. Actually, when I trade such things, we have a strong level. And when the price gradually approaches this level with higher lows, that's a squeeze. It's a good thing. I prioritize trading it on breakouts. And, well, excuse me, if we draw a level here, a breakout of this level could lead to a vertical surge to some hundreds of dollars for Fair Classico. This is a very big good setup that shouldn't be ignored. If you look at this chart, yes, with exchanges that have recently appeared, like Bybit, which are now at the top, don't forget that there are old exchanges where you can look at the left side of the chart and assess how strong the market is right now. And yes, something like this could be in store for the entire market. Let me show you one last example, because I could actually go on for hours showing all of this, how much I've analyzed it, sitting and watching. Well, for example, I also opened Bitcoin Cash with the left side of the chart. Look how much it has fallen, unlike Ethereum Classic, where we saw an upward trend, meaning the price shot up sharply, stayed for a bit, then shot up again, and stayed a bit longer, just like we just looked at with Ethereum Classic. A mega bullish pattern. Here, the pattern is different. It's kind of a reversal pattern for a double bottom, or maybe for a continuation of the trend, for a squeeze. Here, the pattern is like a sort of double bottom. You can draw a trend line like this. And let me erase my drawings that I sketched here. What do we see? We see how since 2022, here's another coin that was one of the first to hit a bottom and is now forming a higher low globally. The pattern is a bit different, yes. We see that the lows here were descending, but since 2022, the very first coin, I think XRP was showing something at that time, but the very first coin, I remember even that night when it shot up, I was sitting and watching on a small time frame and was amazed at how much it was growing. I thought maybe the altcoin season would start back then, but no. The strength has been maintained here for several years in a row. And this needs to be taken into account. And look how beautiful it is. This already looks like what we saw where it shot up sharply. Stayed for a bit, shot up sharply again, and then stayed at a higher level. And this thing is for a continuation of the trend. Yes, it's like a squeeze. And the continuation of the trend, considering that the entire altcoin market is strong, actually suggests that the continuation of the trend here, along with the entire altcoin market, means that the trend line will be broken. Once the trend line is broken, well, the potential, according to the technical analysis, is about $5,000 for Bitcoin Cash, don't you think? And secondly, the altcoin season is about to start. In the altcoin season, there will not only be technical movements, but also a breakout from the trend, just a mindless vertical surge, simply because that's how it works. At some point, money from Bitcoin will indeed flow into the altcoin market, and I think that will happen very soon. As for the risks, I mentioned that we'd talk about the risks. I might have entered a bit too early. As you can see, I entered the altcoin market at the moment when I saw a bullish engulfing pattern for Bitcoin, but I didn't wait for it to break out above that level. So, if Bitcoin drops down to a level where it finds support lower, as I mentioned in recent videos, it's clear that altcoins are unlikely to rise. In the best case, they might just stay in place if this chart is also trending upwards. Moreover, here I also saw a bullish engulfing pattern, which is why I entered the altcoin market after seeing two bullish engulfing patterns. And in the best case, they might just stay in place if this chart is also trending upwards. Moreover, here I also saw a bullish engulfing pattern, which is why I entered the altcoin market after seeing two bullish engulfing patterns. This is a serious signal. And in the long term, I'm confident that I'm in the trend, and the most important thing is to stay in the trend. But no one is immune to further downward movements, and I'll even show you how this has happened historically. In addition to returning to the double bottom levels right here, besides that, we also did something like this, the spike with a stop loss hunt, and something similar might happen now as well. What did I do? I entered in the spot market, so everything I've been talking about right now are my trades in the spot market. So I won't get liquidated and I won't be stopped out. I'll exit myself if I see that the trend has reversed, which is acceptable in the spot market. The trend will reverse anyway with pullbacks, and I'll be able to exit at better prices. I will exit the stop manually myself, this is acceptable on the spot, if I see that the trend has reversed. And the trend will reverse anyway with pullbacks, and I'll be able to exit at better prices. This is extremely unlikely. I'm not even considering that scenario. In the upcoming videos, I'll explain why. There I will provide a fairly large analysis, which I refer to. But you never know. Anything is possible in this world. If there really is a reversal here, I'll just exit with minimal losses. For now, those are my thoughts. But we'll see in the moment. I picked up some altcoins maybe a bit too early. What alto? See more details in my other social networks at the links below, Telegram, Instagram. So overall, make sure to subscribe, there's more content there, and it comes out faster, so you'll stay updated on all the important events. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel too, and good luck.